Thank you all for being here today. It's great to host you in Troy on this beautiful day. We are very thankful to be starting another season. For me, going into my 14th season representing Troy University in the Sun Belt Conference is very exciting. This time of year is kind of about transitions from what you did last year and trying to make sure you're using it as a stepping stone of what you can do in this coming year. So we're very proud of many things from last year, that we had the highest grade point average in Troy women's basketball history with the group we had last year, that we made it to the national championship of a national tournament at the WNIT. We're proud that once again all of our seniors graduated, some of them with master's degrees, several of them have gone on and they're playing professionally. And we led the nation for the 5th year in a row in rebounding. So those are some of the accomplishments that we're proud of from last year, but we want to use to springboard us forward in this new season. Our goal is still the same. It is always to win another Sun Belt championship and get back and represent Troy on a national stage in the NCAA tournament. But also within our program, it's always to do things that have never been done before and things that people deem impossible. Our hashtag is We Do Impossible. So we're always finding a way to do that. We don't know what it's going to be this year, but we're striving for great things and we're believing for great things. As far as the new year, the new team, things are really different. I'm sure that every roster is a little bit different for every coach because of the trickle-down effect for how all the new rules and the new things that happen in NCAA. It's definitely brought a lot of changes to us. For the first time in the history of me being at Troy, we didn't sign a single junior college player. We have 5 returners. We have 5 from the transfer portal. And for the first time since I've been at Troy, we have 4 true freshmen. And again, that really is a result of a trickle down of the new way things are going in NCAA. We also have other new things going on in the program. We've always said that rebounding is king at Troy, and we have not changed that, but we've added that forced turnovers is queen. This year we're really going for, we want to lead the league in forced turnovers, and so we've changed a little bit of the way we're playing defense. It's much more aggressive. It falls in line more with our goal to score 120 points in games, and it speeds things up even more on the defensive end. We're also really looking forward to something different in that we're still post-oriented in the half court. We still have returners, Zay and Fortuna. We still have steady post players in the post, but we also recognize that we could have also advantages in other lineups with smaller lineups that play more in a motion style on offense and can also play for 40 minutes full court on defense. So we're excited about putting that new product on the floor and that new idea and philosophy on the floor. Lots of other new things. We want to be better earlier. If you look at the history of my teams at Troy, we've started off sometimes slow. Like we so far, I don't believe we've won that first game, which is the MAC Challenge. We win the second one. As the year goes on, we get better. We get in the tournament. We do well. We make these long runs. But our best is not always at the beginning of the year. So we changed some things this year. Our word is elite for the year. And we tried to cut back on what we teach at the beginning of the year as far as plays and offenses and defenses. And we tried to pick a few things that we could be elite at and get really comfortable at them so our players can play without thinking, because we say thinking slows you down, slows the feet down. So play really full force without having to think so much from the beginning, and we're hoping to get better results early in the season and to keep building on that and get better throughout the season.
Chanda, you just said something to me that I was like, whoa, and it was the JUCO stat. And like I've been here for a little bit, and I know that you take in the JUCO players, you turn them, you develop them so well. What does that mean? That how confident are you in the returning 5 that you didn't have to go out and get a JUCO player?
I'm very confident in the returning 5. We had a lot of great players go out last year, but and would never take anything away from them. They're pros. Some of them are playing professionally. They did a lot of things for this program. But as I'm seeing, a lot of the heart and soul behind that was these returners, and it's so fun to see it's their time to shine, and they're doing it in every way with leadership. But as far as the junior college stat, that still is shocking me as well, that we didn't have a single junior college players. The changes in NCAA with like revenue share, when it was time to bring in those junior college players for visits last year, we would bring them in, and they had great visits at Troy. They loved Troy. They say they want to come to Troy. And a lot of times they would get back their junior colleges and their coaches or whoever's influencing them would say, hey, this new revenue share, wait and see how much money you can make. And so we didn't sign a single player in the early signing period from junior college, even though that's all we brought in the early signing period in recruiting. And on the other hand of that, though, I believe without a doubt we are also able to get a much higher level freshman out of high school than we ever were before. Let's look at Sanaya Jackson, who's on my roster from Park Crossing. She was the 6A Player of the Year in Alabama. Extremely athletic, extremely skilled to be coming right out of high school. Very, very skilled. And 3 or 4 years ago, or even last year, she would have probably may have been signed early by a Power 4 school, but those schools are waiting on transfer portal kids in the late period because we only have one window now. They're waiting to see what they can get out of there. Most of them are leaning on that more than the high school players. So it's a give and take. Yes, I didn't get my normal groove of the junior college player, but boy, I got something great on the other side of that in some of these freshman players. And we did get 5 transfer portal transfers that are really good. Rachel Leggett from South Alabama, she scored 26 points on us, I think, last year and 27 the year before. She was at South Alabama, and she just fits so much into our style, and she amplifies everything we're doing as far as how hard she plays for 40 minutes. And so we did get some great ones out of the transfer portal as well.
And talk to me about the mesh of those group of girls together. 4 new freshmen, 5 returners, 5 transfers. It's kind of 5, 5, and 5 almost. So kind of talk to me about how that has looked for the connection of this team.
I was thinking that was going to be a really big challenge, but again, our returners, in so many ways, they're very mature. They've played behind and seen how other leaders on this team have done it, whether it's the way they wanted to do it or maybe the ways they didn't want to do it. And they form their own identity, and it's a strong identity. And just last week, I think they had them all over. They cooked fried chicken and cabbage in the apartments. And whereas usually the coaches are having to create all of these team bonding experiences, our returners, leaders, and that kind of thing have facilitated that, and it's been much more authentic and natural in forming those bonds.
And how have you seen it on the court?
It definitely shows on the court. They're sharing the ball better than my previous teams, especially at this time of year. They understand that the big goal is more important than their individual. They have big individual goals. You'll talk to some of them here in this media day. I think they have big goals, what they want to accomplish. But I think that, and this is what I mean by their maturity, they understand that the overall goal of what we're trying to accomplish for Troy University is much more important than any individual goals. And so that takes care of a lot of problems within itself.
Can you talk about how the first time having true freshmen come in, how has that changed your coaching perspective in the way that you coach this team?
It really more affects my assistant coaches who do those individual workouts. They structure those individual workouts to try to bring them along in the fastest way possible. As far as me, as the whole group, like out in a team practice setting, I mean, I'm still doing what I always do. The cream is rising to the top, whether it's a freshman or a returner or a transfer. One of them does happen to be a freshman that is looking at possibly starting for us at the point guard position with Sanaya. I'm just still looking at who's the best, who's the most ready. It's those assistant coaches that are making the plans to bring them along as quickly as possible.
How has Sanaya's transition been from high school to college so far, you think?
I just can't believe how smooth it's been. So many things I thought it would take her 6 months, maybe a year to. I was really making plans to maybe hide some of the things that a normal incoming freshman, it might take them a while to get good at, like pressure. Our men's practice team has come in and pressured her hard every day in the full court. And so we played a scrimmage a couple weekends ago. It's a closed scrimmage, so I can't mention it, but it was a high-level opponent. And it was almost a day off for her. They pressured her the whole time, but it was nothing compared to what those guys have done to her the whole year. And you would never look at her and think she was a freshman.
And you mentioned the word elite, to be elite better on in the season and find those things. What are those things that you're trying to fix, starting off early for you guys?
So usually early, a lot of times we were 15 deep. We have 15 players that we never knew who was going to start or who could be our star players this time of year. Again, we would get all of those 21, 22-year-old transfers or junior college transfers or maybe players that have transferred from Power 4 schools. And at this time of year, it was just kind of all over the place. You had people trying to adjust to our system, first of all, and then also we wouldn't know kind of who our go-to players were at this time of year, and we would get out there in those first games of this, and again, we would try to put in so much at the beginning of the year so we would have things in our arsenal to use in these games, and we've just kind of changed that approach. It really is kind of a natural order of who's producing the most for us at practice. And the coaches have put a lot of time and effort into tweaking our system to boil it down to what can put those players who are most ready to contribute right now in the best spotlight, in the best positions to do that, and then keep it simple to those things. Right now on our fast break and our 120 fast break, we have two options. If somebody is open in front of you, pass it ahead and then move the ball quickly till somebody has an open look at the goal. If we can't pass it ahead, they're dribbling to one of two spots on the floor, and they have a certain decision to make. And again, it just fell in line really easy like that. It's hard to explain, but again, the strengths of the players we have, that's what it led to, and they're already very comfortable in doing that.
You talked about making a few things elite. Is that like specific to an individual person or the whole team, and what are those kind of things?
So we always try to come up with a word or something that we're striving for, and really we've accomplished a lot in this program, and a lot of things that we felt like making our theme for the year kind of seemed trite or overused. But I believe one of our returners kind of spoke up one day and just said, the one thing that we really maybe haven't been is truly elite, because that permeates the locker room, the classroom, how we live, how we represent in the community. Even though we've done a good job at those things, have we been elite? There's always something else to strive for, and we're just diving in and doing a deep dive in what it means to be elite and trying to apply that to many areas. Our coaches I read a book this summer about elite practicing, how to have people practice a skill in an elite way. So that's just one example, but we're just trying to have that permeate everything we do, is being elite. It always gives you something to strive for. If you really study that word, there's always another level you can hit, and it's just opening up our eyes and taking the ceiling off for what we're striving for.
You guys keep getting farther with the WNIT. What did you learn from that run to the finals last year?
Oh, goodness. We learned a lot about how you can still play well even though you're not in a routine, because we got on that road and they told us we would be gone for one game, and because our administration really bid to have the next games back at Troy, and they would tell us after every game, if you win this game, you're going back to Troy, and we really packed for one game, and we ended up staying on the road, it seems like, for 4 months. But it was just, we have our routines. I know one time we were at a hotel, I forgot which city we were in. We were about to go play, and they said a tornado was coming. So whereas our players, some of them were in the shower, taking their pregame shower, some of them were taking their pregame little nap, we all went down in the bathroom on the first floor with all the other guests and waited for the tornado to pass, and then sprinted to the bus so we could get there for tip-off. We got to some places, and our luggage didn't, and we were running to Dick's Sporting Goods to buy, hoping they had shoes in our size, because it was almost time for the game. So it was... To answer your question, what did we learn? I learned that sometimes routines are silly. If you want to win and you want to find a way to win, you're going to do it, no matter what the routine is. But we learned that. The things that our returning players learn from those moments, though, of walking into those arenas that were sold out, and there might be 6 Troy fans there, there might be 6,000 in blue there. Those cardinal, those are blue, and how I think we learned how you can use that for fuel when everybody's chanting against you. And when the odds are against you so much, I really believe there are things that those players will take within the rest of their life about. It doesn't matter what the odds are. You can still persevere, and you can still break through what people expect of you. It was just neat because in some of those games, I think 2 or 3 of them were overtime wins at sellout arenas. And it was so far from Troy that it was on their home court. So, of course, we had very few fans in the others. So it doesn't matter how many cheerleaders. It doesn't matter that all their administration is sitting on the front row and looking at you like this. It doesn't matter what everybody's yelling, screaming, and their whole student body's there. If you stay true to what you do and you believe in your teammates and yourself, you can really overcome a lot of odds.
Did I hear you say that Troy has led the nation in rebounding for
5 years.
in a row?
Yes. So
How
if,
how does that happen? What's your philosophy or secrets?
well, our philosophy is that I told my team the other day in the film room, because we pretty much talk about rebounding every day, and we track it every day, and we reward good rebounders every day. But it doesn't matter who we play. If it's UConn, if it's South Carolina, it doesn't matter what coach you're facing, whether it's Kill Mulkey, Dawn Staley. It doesn't matter what great shooter they have on the other team, whether it's Caitlin Clark. All of those factors, you could play all of those people I just said, but the fact of the matter remains, in a women's basketball game, 45 to 65% of the shots that are taken throughout that game are going to be missed. Doesn't matter who you're playing. So that comes to around, on average, about 70 opportunities to get extra possession, about 70 extra possessions of the game if you control those rebounds. So we say it's our insurance. We hope we shoot well every night. We hope things are clicking every night. But on nights the balls is not going in the hoop, it's insurance that we can still win a basketball game if we go get those extra possessions through rebounding. And so we preach that. Our players buy into that. The players we have this year as a whole, we have Zay Dyer back, who I believe led the conference in the almost double-doubles or probably double-doubles, but definitely in rebounding. But other than her and a few returners, we're really not natural rebounders this year. But to be honest, in all of these 5 years that we've led in the nation in rebounding, we haven't been natural rebounders. It's what we emphasize, though. So we still have, to be honest, a long way to go to get where we need to be in rebounding, but I have seen a huge improvement this week. In their effort, we got down to business. We took out pieces of paper. We wrote down what our commitments were this week to get better in rebounding. Rebounding is just such a big chunk. There's offensive rebounding. It's totally different than defensive rebounding. You have to put that all together, and the techniques and the determination. But it's our insurance. Just like you buy insurance on your car, you hope you never need it, but it's there if you do. That's what rebounding is to us.
Like smart analytics to me.
I don't know. I don't know about that, but I've studied a lot, and I've had some time since I'm very tenured in this profession, and I've studied that a lot. But again, I want to bring up that we think that we can eventually be great in forced turnovers this year because we're applying that same mentality that we had. The way we've gone about creating that specialness in our rebounding, which is just emphasizing it every day, teaching it every day, rewarding it every day, tracking it every day. We're doing the same thing with if they can get a fingertip on a ball from defense. Like if they can just get a fingertip and if a dribbler puts the ball on the floor and they can get a fingertip on it and make them bobble it before they get in their shooting rhythm. We're tracking it, we're rewarding it. And again, we think we can become special in that too.
I'm just going to ask, you've been here for quite some time. What's the game that you're just really looking forward to this season that you just kind of marked on your calendar going into this, and just something that you look forward to?
So I have a few. The first one is Toledo. It's our first game here, and like I said, we've not won a MAC Challenge game, the first one, yet, because we've just never been good enough. The last time we played a MAC Challenge game at home, the first game, we thought we were ready for Ball State's press, but we weren't, and we learned from that. But I would like to begin with a win with that game. Of course, our first conference game this year is very different. It starts before Christmas. We always play conference. We start after Christmas, but this year we have one conference game before Christmas, and that's going to be a tough one because it's on the road at Old Dominion. And, of course, we want to begin conference with a win. And, that's always a different game, right? Right before Christmas, like keeping everybody focused. You're either in the middle of finals or your mind's all swarming around with final exams or how am I getting home or am I going home for Christmas? So, just getting everybody focused enough to win that game against a great Old Dominion team will be very good. But, of course, every conference game after that is highly important.